Think you know the best rifles in zero build history? You might be surprised. In part 2 of my tier list, we're covering some rifles that left everyone split, and a few that, honestly, should never come back. Do you think any of the Chapter 5 projectile weapons will make it to the S tier? Or will one of them get stuck in D tier? Let's dive in and settle the score. In Chapter 4 Season 2, we were introduced to a brand new weapon, the Havoc Suppressed Assault Rifle. Its description says it's a fully automatic, fast-firing, and highly accurate rifle. However, I personally never found it to be very accurate. The bloom effect is significant and noticeable, causing you to miss many shots even when you're on target. With damage ranging from 23 to 28, depending on the weapon's rarity, it falls below the average for assault rifles. Also, is a suppressor really that effective in a game like Fortnite? To me, this gun belongs in the C tier. Now, let's move on to a very unique sniper rifle, the Dragon's Breath Sniper. This is the exotic version of the bolt action sniper rifle. It shares all the same features as the bolt action, like firing one bullet at a time through a scope with no damage fall off over distance. The unique feature of this sniper is its fire splash damage, which can ignite wooden structures in build mode. However, it's not as useful in zero build. Even if you aim near an enemy on the ground, the explosion radius isn't large enough to make a significant impact. For these reasons, I'm placing it in the C tier. Next, we have another Star Wars weapon, the DC-15 Blaster Rifle. In part 1, we ranked the E11 Blaster Rifle in the D tier. So, is this one any better? In short, the DC-15 Blaster can be useful in the early game or as an SMG replacement. Its infinite ammo is handy, but the lack of long-range accuracy and high firepower makes it less effective later in the game. It's definitely better than the E11 Blaster, which is why I'm placing it in the C tier. Moving on to Chapter 4 Season 3, the Wild Season. Let's talk about the Flapjack Rifle. This weapon feels like a hybrid between an LMG and an assault rifle, featuring a large 45 round magazine and a fast fire rate. It's effective at close and medium range, but the recoil makes it difficult to use at longer distances. And have you noticed how long it takes to reload? While it's great for applying constant pressure in build mode, it feels out of place in zero build. I was initially going to place it in C tier, but it performs better than the previous guns, so I'm placing it in B. Next, we have the Thermal DMR. And no, it's not a hit scan weapon. Back in Chapter 4 Season 3, it was overshadowed by better rifles in the loot pool. But is it fair to judge it solely on that? When I used this gun, I instantly felt it was the worst DMR at the time. Despite having a faster fire rate than both the DMR and Cobra DMR, it has a lower damage output. I had much more success with the other DMRs. Sure, the thermal scope is cool, but it doesn't compensate for its weaknesses. That's why I'm placing it in the C tier. Now, let's talk about the MK Alpha Assault Rifle. Is it as good as the S-tier MK7 Assault Rifle? The main differences are that the MK Alpha has a higher damage output, a smaller magazine size, and a slower fire rate. Overall, it feels great to use, but I personally found the MK7 more comfortable. The difference is small though. The MK Alpha shines with its versatility at all ranges and easy recoil control. While it's not quite S-tier material, A-tier is a perfect fit. Next, we have the Explosive Repeater Rifle, which uses heavy bullets like sniper rifles. It fires a quick projectile that explodes on impact, dealing damage in a smaller radius. I wish the damage was higher, ranging only from 32 to 40. That's the main problem with this gun. It's already hard to hit your target, and when you do, the damage is underwhelming. It doesn't perform well in zero build, so I'm placing it in the D tier. The Twin Mag Assault Rifle is an automatic scope rifle with a double-sided magazine for an extra fast reload. It has great damage for an AR, but its only downside is the small 20-round magazine. Despite this, it's undoubtedly one of the best rifles of all time. It feels incredibly smooth to use, making it easy to land consecutive shots. Back in Chapter 4 Season 4, most players favored this gun over any other because it was truly overpowered. It's an easy S-tier choice. The Suppressed Sniper Rifle is essentially the bolt-action sniper with a suppressor. It works the same way, meaning you'll have to reload after every shot. Headshots are lethal, with a 2.5 multiplier on its 105 base damage, making it a one-shot headshot kill. Personally, I don't like the feel of suppressed shots, but that doesn't affect its efficiency. I'm placing this one in the A tier, just like the bolt action. The Tactical DMR is a semi-automatic marksman rifle with an adjustable scope. It has a medium-sized magazine and deals high damage over range. Maybe it was unfairly rated by the community because it was up against the Twin Mag AR, but I don't think it still performs well overall. I personally prefer the Cobra DMR for its feel and fun factor, but the Tactical DMR is still better than the Thermal DMR. That's why I'm placing it in B tier. Let's now talk about the Legacy Assault Rifle from the OG season of Chapter 1. I'm not in entirely sure about the name because it wasn't easy to find, but it's the common rifle you get when respawning in the reload game mode. This gun is the definition of average, or even below average, due to its noticeable bloom effect, which can be frustrating when you think you're on target. It's not terrible at short range though, which is why I'm placing it in C tier. Finally, we have the heavy assault rifle. This weapon deals a lot of damage, with the common version starting at 36 damage and the legendary version going up to 44. However, it has a very large spread when firing at full auto, making it weak at close range due to hip fire inaccuracy. For best results, it's recommended to fire in short bursts or wait for first shot accuracy to reset. While it excels at medium range, it's not the best at long range. I'm placing it in the B tier. The scoped assault rifle made its return in OG Chapter 1, and while it excels at long range due to its scope, it's not very effective in close range combat. Its main purpose is for engagements at distances where unscoped weapons struggle to hit targets accurately. That being said, this gun has a damage output similar to the Twin Mag AR, but it fires nearly 3 times slower. It feels too much like a niche weapon to use regularly. It's definitely not on the same level as the S tier Twin Mag AR, but in my opinion, the scoped assault rifle belongs in the C tier. The minigun is a fan favorite not just because it's unique, but also because it's an incredibly capable weapon in many situations. I don't think it's a stretch to say it can replace an AR to some extent. And why not replace an SMG too? There's really no reason not to. The OG version of the minigun is very similar to the sideways minigun we reviewed in part 1 of this video. While the sideways minigun has a DPS damage per second of 140, the original minigun boasts a much higher 228 DPS. However, in zero build mode, this difference isn't that noticeable. For that reason, I'm placing it 1 tier above the sideways minigun, which means it's going in A tier. Yes, the legacy drum gun falls under the assault rifle category, but why? Mainly because it uses medium bullets for ammo. However, most players tend to use it more as an SMG replacement. With base damage starting at 26, that's incredibly high for an SMG type weapon. Back in Chapter 1, this gun was considered overpowered, but when it was reintroduced in the OG season, it wasn't quite the same. The drum gun received a significant nerf, so it never felt like the original version we had at the very beginning. Ranking this weapon is tricky since it played very differently in 2 distinct metas. Overall, I think the legacy drum gun fits best in B tier. Now it's time to dive into Chapter 5 and revisit the introduction of projectile weapons. To be fully transparent, hit scan weapons clearly have an advantage over projectile based ones. It's hard for me to place any projectile weapon in the S tier because, in my opinion, they just can't outmatch or even equal weapons like the Red Eye, Twin Mag, or Infantry Rifle. If you agree with me on this, why not click on the like button right now? Let's kick things off by reviewing the Striker AR. It's a low damage, high fire rate assault rifle that fires projectile shots, uses medium bullets, and has a 1.5x headshot multiplier. The general consensus was mostly positive throughout Chapter 5, and it was often regarded as the best AR in the loot pool. Personally, I wasn't a fan, as I found its slower damage output a bit lacking. Plus, controlling its recoil pattern can be tricky. For me, the Striker ARs belongs in the B tier. If there's one assault rifle that performs well in many areas, it's definitely the Nemesis AR. This fully automatic, easy to control assault rifle with projectile shots offers moderate damage and a steady fire rate. However, it doesn't excel in any particular area, which keeps it from being the top option in the loot pool. The Nemesis AR is great for new players because it's straightforward to use, but veterans don't tend to rely on it as much. I think the B tier is the perfect spot for this gun. When the Enforcer AR was introduced in Chapter 5 Season 1, it didn't make a huge splash. Its very slow fire rate was a major drawback for many players. It performs well at long range, but isn't ideal for medium or close range fights. However, after receiving a buff in Chapter 5 Season 3, it became a more viable option and wasn't as overlooked in the loot pool. With high damage and a 1.75x headshot multiplier, it can be a solid replacement for a sniper or a DMR. Like the Nemesis AR, I believe the Enforcer AR belongs in the B tier. The Reaper sniper rifle is one of Fortnite's most polarizing weapons, and a powerful one at that. Could it be the best sniper ever? With its 3-round magazine, reloading is less of an issue, a feature that many thought should be exclusive to single-round snipers like the bolt-action sniper. And at 303 headshot damage, it's undeniably strong. Even after multiple nerfs, the Reaper remained highly effective. It's on the edge of S tier, but due to its significant bullet drop over long distances, I'd place it in A tier. The Warforged Assault Rifle is a fully automatic, medium-range weapon that excels in close to mid-range combat, but struggles at longer distances due to its high recoil. Its damage output is low, with the common grey version dealing only 24 damage. This rifle is almost the opposite of the Enforcer AR we just reviewed. Many players compare it to the Striker AR, though I found the Striker more reliable overall, especially at longer ranges. In my view, the Warforged belongs in the C tier. Whether you like it or not, another DMR is up next, the Huntress DMR. Like other DMRs, it shares similar core features, but does it stand out? One key difference is its faster bullet travel speed, which makes hitting target a bit easier. When paired with a scope, the Huntress DMR can be highly effective, bridging the gap between a sniper and an AR, and it can act as a solid replacement for either if needed. However, since it's a DMR, its DPS is on the lower side, meaning it can take time to eliminate opponents. In my opinion, the Huntress DMR belongs in the B tier. Once again, we're looking at the Tactical Assault Rifle, but this time the Chapter 5 version. The stats are nearly identical to the Legacy Tactical AR, with just a +1 damage boost in its newer version, theoretically allowing it to take down enemies a bit faster. However, in practice, I didn't notice a substantial difference. The Chapter 5 version also supports attachments, but again, the improvements were not dramatic. Since the performance feels almost the same between versions, I would place the Tactical Assault Rifle in the C tier. The Tri-Beam Laser Rifle is a head-scan assault weapon, meaning there's no damage reduction due to distance. It uses infinite energy cells, but it enters a brief cooldown period if fired continuously, with a headshot multiplier of 1.5x and 1.8x damage against vehicles. It truly shines, especially in vehicle-heavy encounters. This gun was heavily overlooked in Chapter 5 Season 3, despite excelling in the card-centric meta of the Wrecked season. Plus, it has 0 bullet drop. Literally, it's a laser. While placing it in the S tier might be a stretch, I think the A tier is a perfect fit. The Chapter 5 Combat AR is an upgraded take on the Legacy Combat AR, boosting slightly improved stats. The key difference is that, unlike the Hitscan Legacy version, the Chapter 5 model is projectile based. However, with the right attachments, it becomes a deadly weapon and, in my opinion, stands as the best projectile AR we've seen so far. Since the Legacy Combat AR was placed in A tier, this version deserves the same ranking. I know many won't agree with me here since they clearly prefer the Striker AR, especially controller players, but it is what it is. The Heavy Impact Sniper Rifle is a single-shot sniper that uses heavy bullets and delivers a 3x damage multiplier along with knockback against vehicles. While it proves useful during the Wrecked season, I never found it exceptionally reliable for eliminating opponents. Its single-bullet magazine is a significant drawback compared to the Reaper Sniper Rifle, but I will admit the reload animation is pretty cool. It's not quite D-tier material, but a solid C feels right for this one. The Striker Burst Rifle is a 2-round burst, fully automatic rifle known for its tight accuracy and low recoil. Let's be honest, it sucks when you don't have a scope on it. Unlike the Legacy Striker Burst, which always had a scope, the Chapter 5 version lacks one, and that really impacts its usability. In Chapter 5 Season 4, it went head-to-head in the loot pool with the Striker AR, which ended being the community's favorite. And apparently controller players get no aim assist with the Striker Burst. Personally, I didn't notice since I switched to keyboard and mouse. It's good, but not quite as good as the Combat AR, so I'm putting it in the B tier. So we reviewed all assault rifles since the start of Zero Build back in Chapter 3 Season 2. Was there one you didn't agree with? And what kind of weapons should I review next for another ranking video? Let me know in the comments. Make sure to check out this next video right here because that's the one you're most likely going to want to watch. See ya!